to glory, your bright banners waving high. See how the world longs to manner of your bearing. Let's you excel through love and unity, pressing onward, march together to a common loftier goal.
Welcome back to another exciting conversation here on Effective Living. It's a beautiful evening, and I'm excited about this talk because I have my good friend and brother Deon Dean back. Welcome
Yes,
back.
sir. Welcome back, Pastor Ricardo. Coach Ricardo, it's good to be back on the show this morning on Effective Living.
Man, listen, we're embarking on a great time. The celebration is real. The Bahamas is raising the roof throughout the region. It's Independence time. How you feeling, bro? How you feeling? We're celebrating 50 years this year.
Well, I want to say happy 50th anniversary to the Bahamas. Happy independence. I feel so excited. I feel the energy that's in the Bahamas. I wish I could be there right now.
Tell our viewing audience, we're going to talk about this, man. You're born and raised Bahamas, but before we go into our talk today, I want you to tell our viewing audience a little bit about Deon Dean, a little bit about your journey. Which island are you from? Which neighborhood? Let's talk about it.
Well, I'm from the Bahamas. I'm from Nassau, Bahamas, and definitely I am from Camp Road community, where I was afforded to go off to college some 20 odd years ago and pursue my education here in Texas, where I'm currently reside right now.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, you said Camp Road. A lot of people don't know Camp Road. I love Camp Road. You know, Camp Road has helped me to become who I am through having parking, groceries at City Market. And you know, the boys taught me how to become a man. But
Yeah. Yeah,
myself.
Camp Road in itself is a community with thriving people. We grew up in a way where it gets a little difficult at times, but definitely we have a community that work together to bring the whole community together.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let me ask you this: when we think about the term "proud Bahamian," I know you're a proud Bahamian. I was watching you in a video not so long ago. The Ministry of Tourism doing an event. And I thought you was Walla Francis in the front of that jump. Talk to us about being a proud Bahamian, if that's how you describe yourself.
Yes, I am definitely a proud Bahamian, and it was an exciting time to see the Bahamas come to Texas to introduce our culture to the people here in Texas. They've heard so much about the Bahamas, but to actually be here and experience a sample of what we have to offer, I think it's tremendous. Being a Bahamian, it has opened up so many doors for me personally on the global international stage. When you think about it, our passport alone holds the same value as the United States. So there you have it. We are definitely fortunate to be great Bahamians.
Excellent, excellent. You know, you grew up in Nassau, the Camp Road area, as you mentioned. I don't know if you learned to swim out Montague or where, but talk to us a little bit about your boyhood experience growing up in the Bahamas.
Well, growing up in the Bahamas, I started out real young working at, it was Winn-Dixie at that time, City Meat Market. And I was a packing boy. I probably was the shortest packing boy at that time, but it definitely taught me responsibility, structure, discipline, and also how to go out there and make a living for yourself.
Yeah. When you think back about our history, what are you most proud of? When you look back at, you know, proud to be Bahamian, and you look back at what they call the good old days, what comes to mind as something to be like, wow, it was one of those experiences you could never forget?
It's just the community feeling. It's with everybody coming together and helping out one another, looking out for one another. Um, the excitement within the community. You didn't have to go too far in order to have a good time. A house or two down, and I mean, it's a party within itself. And so it's the community structure, the senior citizens that prayed and looked out for the next generation. I value that the most, and then definitely I miss that the most.
When you went to school in the Bahamas, what were the schools you went to, and which one of the schools made the most difference in your life? And obviously, primary, middle school, and high school all played a role, but which one was the one that the light bulb came on that helped Deon Dean to become who Deon Dean is today?
I would say Uriah McPhee. My primary schools really structured me to be the young man that I am today. I was in Cub Scout. I ran track. I even was in dance. We performed at the opening of many Olympic celebrations. So elementary because it was in my community. It was where everyone that that wanted to strive to be somebody came right out of Uriah McPhee. And if you look today, Uriah McPhee has produced some of the greatest people that came out of Camp Road.
Wow. Let me look. Uriah, I know Uriah. It's a great school. I'm E.P. Roberts, rivalry. Come on, man. E.P. Roberts, Uriah
Yeah.
McPhee. E.P. Roberts going to try to take the day, right? Let's talk. When you look at Uriah McPhee, what school did you go to after that? And what kept you on the straight and what some would call the narrow path for success? After Uriah McPhee, where did you go and what kept you staying focused?
Determination. I went to C.I. Gibson after leaving Uriah McPhee and then came off to college. Consistency and the where you want to go and what you wanted to do. But I want to pursue my education, be someone in life. And I want a camper that can look back and tell the story how to get out and be successful, or how to stay in and continue being successful. But I got out, and C.I. Gibson, Uriah McPhee, both school played a very much important role in my life.
I remember working at City Market with you. I think you were the boy everyone talked about that was going on a cruise
Oh yeah,
from packing groceries. You made sufficient money enough to go on a cruise.
yeah.
And I think even at some point we were pushing for college through packing. Talk to us about the hustle and the things you learned there at City Market.
At Sydney Market, definitely it was. You had to hustle your way to meet your goals daily, and you were not the only one doing it. There were other packing guys and packing girls who were trying to meet their budget as well. But the most important thing that really stuck out to me was the personality, the customer service, and how to adapt to the environment that you were in at that time. So there was always a great goal and a great aspiration in order to work, and you have to set those goals in what you're working for. And I always wanted to go off to college. That was something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to pursue my education, and by all means necessary, I was going to go to college. And by working, that was definitely an encouragement, and it helped to pay my first year in college.
Nice, nice. You were in retail for years. As a matter of fact, some would call you a retail specialist. I mean, like I said, you got some major retail experience behind your belt. What was the trigger that got you to say, "I love retail, and this is definitely an area that I'm going to stick with for a while"?
I've been in retail for over 30 plus years, and actually started out in the Bahamas. I included the Bahamas as well,
Yep.
because that's where it all started. Retail is interesting. Every day is never the same. You can go in with one agenda and actually leave with a different outcome. But retail is about billing people. It's about using strategies in order to make a sale, produce a profit. And then the most important thing I always would tell anybody is that you have to take your internal. Internal always takes care of external. You can have all of the strategies in place, but if internal is not happy, the whole operation is off course.
Wow, wow. When you think about the Bahamas, when you think about your childhood, when you think about the different experiences that you had growing up as a Bahamian, what would be one of them you were like, you had to be there. You just had to be there. You had to be there. For me, there is a number of
Yeah.
things, but boy, I'm interested in hearing one of yours that could have been, hey, listen, and then describe what that was for you thinking back at the moment.
Well, it's just the culture. I have to go back to that. It's the culture, it's the environment. It's never a dull moment. Every corner you go to, every house you go to, there's an excitement. It is something about being from the Bahamas that gets you want to move, that gets you want to have a conversation, that wants to host. We are a hospitable island. We're the Bahamas, where people come to relax, where they come to vacation, where they come to breathe in our air. It is Nassau, Bahamas. It's the Bahamas. There's no other place in the world like the Bahamas. And so when you ask me to describe it, it is undescribable. The Bahamas is just simply a package within itself. And those persons who are watching us today, if you've never vacationed to the Bahamas, you have to take a vacation to the Bahamas. You have not vacationed until you went to the Bahamas.
So good, so good. You know, I've met people all around the world who talk about the Bahamas being one of the places on their bucket list. It's like, oh man, I have it on my list. I want to visit the
Yeah.
Bahamas, and there's just so many beautiful islands. One could just. I ask them oftentimes, what is it that you're looking for? Are you looking for serene, where there's nobody else on the beach but you?
Yeah.
Uh, you can find that in the Bahamas. But if you're also looking for a crowded beach where tons of activities and people are basking in the sun, you can find that as well. Let's talk
Yes, sir.
about your looking at the Bahamas. You go back home a lot. You've invested in your community. You've gone back and made a number of different ways to contribute back to where you came from. What concerns you the most looking back? And not only looking back, but looking currently at the Bahamas. What concerns you the most? Would you say, hey, this is definitely something I think we need to look into? Celebrating 50 years of independence this month. In a few days, the country will be, everyone will be in the streets celebrating. But we must still remember that there are a few things we need to look into to ensure that the Bahamas remain the beacon of light and prominent, thriving, successful individual and a country in the region.
Yeah. So when we look at our independence and how we're facing the 50th year this year, we go back 50 years prior to where we're at right now. And in 1963, actually 10 years before we actually became independent, the process was in the works. So we probably 60-year should be celebrating 60-year anniversary rather than 50. But in 1963 is when paperwork were in place, and Lyndon Oscar Pillin, the first prime minister of the Bahamas, his message was to the world: the Bahamas is open. No matter the color of your skin, no matter where you are, the Bahamas is open for vacation. So come to the Bahamas.
Yeah, I believe
And
that. So go ahead.
I would say what concerns me the most is what concerns them back then.
Okay.
What concerns them back then, and that was, infrastructure, the economy, and definitely taking our rightful place on the global stage. I think we are there where we have all the resources. We have everything in place where we can be at the center stage and perform. So that concerns me the most: infrastructure and the trending on how we should modernize certain things in the Bahamas.
Let me ask you this. You have represented the Bahamas overseas, here in business, at college, in a number of different spaces. when the Bahamians show up, the energy is always strong. What do you think that is, man? You know, like we are not subtle people. We're not
Right.
afraid to be in front. We're not afraid to
Yeah.
raise hands. We're not afraid to speak.
Yeah.
What's been your view of that as a Bahamian, having been in this country for so long now, and others knowing, whoa, that brother is confident, and you've seen other Bahamians show up equally so. What's your
Yeah.
view on the way we show up in rooms or in boardrooms, in competitions, in service, in whatever environment we're in?
It's like someone being locked down for so long. We're about to celebrate 50 years, right? The Bahamas has been locked down for so long. And it's like anytime you have an opportunity to present yourself and show who we really are, it's our culture, it's who we grew up, it's how we are. We are a people that move and shake and make things happen. Whenever you come in contact with a Bahamian or someone from the Bahamas, you come in contact with someone who have been through the test of time and who have survived and definitely showed that they can be on the same center stage that anyone else in the world.
So good, so good. Let me ask you this: when you think about the influential voices that has been in your life, what are some of the
Yeah.
more, you know, things that was implanted in you as statements of truth that you can't shake? You'd be like, Mr. Lavarity might have said this, your grandmother might have said this, your boss or a teacher might have said this, and to this day you still hold some of those principles to be true. Talk to us about some of the things you will never shake, having been taught this early on in the Bahamas.
Yeah, it's people. It's people. Everybody brings something to the table. And if you can never take your eyes off people, you would always produce the results that you're looking for. Anytime you see something that's not operating and going the way it should be, you got to check the people's piece because people a lot of when you have a product, a lot of people don't buy your product. They buy you, the personality, the person, the people. So I have always respected the people and the underdog dog person that everyone look at the least, and to bring light to that person so they can know that there's goodness in everybody. There's goodness in everybody. So um, I always had a passion for people and those that are less fortunate. And, you know, my mom always taught in us how to respect people, no matter what they're going through and what their current conditions may be.
You grew up in Camp Road. I keep going back there, but I can imagine going to school. You made
Yeah.
sure your parents made sure you were ironed up, and your shirt was in your pants, and
Yep.
it was a way you look. You, no matter which house you came from, no
Yep.
matter what means you had as a family, when you
Yep.
looked at kids at school, you could barely tell who lived in what we call a shack versus who had a pool at their house, because there was a pride about how you looked, how you carry yourself. Talk to us a little bit about that whole pride and how you carry yourself.
Uh, my mother used to put me in a suit, man. So on Sundays, she said, Deon, I'm putting you in a suit to
Yeah.
be someone great in life one day. And today, I am currently the president of the Camp Road Community Association in the Bahamas, reaching back and showing the spotlight on areas that the community can come together and make the better, you know, for those that live there. And then currently also, I am the president of a nonprofit organization, Global Transformers, here in Dallas, Texas. So it's all about the energy. It's all about sucking in the opportunities that may be there for you. You just have to find the resources and get it.
Bahamians everywhere around the globe are now cashing on the fact that there's money to be made. There's no shortage of money in the earth. Deon Dean from Camp Road, you decided that, hey, listen, man, if there's some money to be made, I'm gonna get mine.
Yes.
What made you commit to, hey, man, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be living from paycheck to paycheck. I need to be strategic in my approach to make sure that I make some money in this life so I can take care of me and mine. What was the turning point for that?
Well, most persons today are fortunate to have what they have today.
Right.
Coming from the Bahamas and growing up in Camp Road, I didn't have the luxury that most people have today. And I looked around and I was like, you know what? Man, there got to be something better than this. You know, I am this. There has to be something better. And so I was always seeking better and better. I hung out in areas that may have been, more, luxury than us in Camp Road. But definitely, I looked around and I said, you know what? If they can have it, we can have it too. And most persons in Camp Road are so talented. We're so talented. There's so much talent in areas where the resources is not there. So definitely we want to make sure that the resources hit these communities that can thrive and shine the spotlight on those next generations to come.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking with Deon Dean, a
Yep.
proud Bahamian, as the Bahamas embark on celebrating 50 years of independence.
Yes,
What
sir.
they I had to pause. I had to make some adjustments to my platform and says, hey, let's go in and let's talk all things Bahamian. And so over the past few days, we've been having different Bahamians come on and talk about their past, their present position, and their view of the future. Dion, when you look at the Bahamas, what is it that you hope we don't lose? I mean, knowing that there are things that are known for being all things Bahamian, but in
Yeah,
addition, with the world coming to our shores, sometimes
yeah.
you become so acclimated to the world that you could lose yourself. What is it that you hope that in our next 25, 50 years of independence, that we don't lose? What would those things be, or what would that be?
I hope we don't lose our democracy, our free will, free of press, free speech. I hope we don't lose that. And then I hope we don't lose our faith in God. I think those are the most prominent points in order to continue moving to the trajectory forward. So I definitely hope we don't lose our democracy.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, where do you see the Bahamas going? As we get ready to go. Bahamas go in the region. The Bahamas for a long time has been the envy of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
We've been a beacon of hope and light, and we stand second to none in the Caribbean. But where do you see the Bahamas continuing to thrive and move towards? If you had your way, looking into the future, what does the Bahamas look like?
The Bahamas look like the number one place to visit in the Caribbean. The Bahamas look like persons from communities that are less fortunate that are thrive in the global world. The Bahamas look like technologies where every person have an opportunity to internet access and to resources that they may need in order to further their education. The Bahamas look like young people, young generations sitting at the table, help making decisions for the next 20, 30 years. The Bahamas look like infrastructure, where everywhere you go, every island is taken care of and natural resources are paying for it.
Wow. And natural resources are paying for it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bahamas is an amazing country, and we've thrived over the years. As a matter of fact, the late Dr. Miles Monroe often said, "God lives in the Bahamas."
Amen.
Yeah. God lives in the Bahamas. We believe that to be true. We believe that to be true. With that said, Dion, you've been a person of faith for a long time. As a matter of fact, your faith, my faith, our Christian walk was the thing that somewhat really knitted our friendship in that we went to church in the Bahamas. And let's talk about that for a minute as we get ready to close our talk. For all people don't know, I'm going to document this in the recording because we sung together. We were a part of a men's choir.
Yeah, yeah, we were. Um, uh, um, with his pastor with Pastor
Dean Wells and Pentecostal
yes,
Church of Faith of God.
Pentecostal Church of Faith in God. Yes, I would never forget it.
So we remember both of us, along with a number of other guys. We sung in the men's choir down through the years. You remember the song
Yes, sir.
down through the years? It's amazing the level of strength that came to us as young men early on, having faith to navigate the weeks, months, and years to come. Because I believe faith was a significant difference maker to
Yeah.
bring me this far. What's your view on faith having brought you this far? Because you were a hustler and you would have stayed a hustler, but faith helped navigated you through a lot. Talk to us a little bit about faith and its role and who you've become over the years.
Yeah, I grew up in the church. Started out at the Camp Road Union, and now it's the Camp Road Ministries. But I grew up in church, and after that, joining the Pentecostal Church of Faith in God with Pastor Wells and his father. And faith has always kept me, and has always played an important part in my life. It's all I heard, all I knew when I was in the Bahamas. And we went to church like pretty much every day, except for on Mondays, which was missionary. But we went to church 6 days a week, so there was no room for error.
Yeah. Boy, that's such a huge
And then
difference.
on top of that, we all chastised each other and made sure that we all stayed on the straight and the narrow. So you couldn't go wrong in the Bahamas in faith.
That's so good. That's so you were right. I remember you're so right. We called out each other and it wasn't personal.
Yeah.
Nobody got offended. Deon, I'm thinking back and I'm thinking, a lot of people, they see you today, you continue to thrive, you continue to do well, you've stayed motivated along the way. Talk to our young men in the Bahamas, talk to young people coming up in the Bahamas as you close this talk out, celebrating 50 years of independence. You've chosen to make a mark in the earth and give a contribution to humanity by the service you give on a daily basis. Now challenge those who are coming behind you that they have a part to play. What do you say to them?
I say dream big. I say continue talking about where you want to go. Continue imagining where you want to go. I say circle yourself with those persons who can help influence you to move forward. I say stay connected. I say stay grounded. And I say, even though you may not have the resources or see your way out, always encourage yourself. Never give up. Never give up, because guess what? There's still light at the end of the tunnel. And I've seen it, and I've seen it work for me, and it can work for you. I'm from Camp Road. I'm from where you from. I'm from the hood. I'm from the ghetto. I'm from using the outside toilet to now having several different homes and investments. I'm from where you from, and you can make it if you try.
Come on. You can make it if you try. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you've heard from Deon Dean, born and raised there in the Bahamas, Camp Road to be exact.
Yes, sir.
Proud Camp Roadian. I don't know. Good stuff, good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember Deon working at City Market. I remember Deon from C.I. Gibson School. I remember Deon being the boy who paid to go on a cruise from packing groceries. I remember the boy going off to school, to college, making his way to Texas. And eventually I made my way to Texas because of an invitation Deon extended to Pastor Wells. And so forth. So there's a lot of history that goes behind us. My mother was a cashier at City Market when Deon was a parking boy. You remember that, Deon?
There's the back right behind her. Yes.
Yeah, so God's been good to us. We once again salute the Bahamas on 50 years of independence. We're proud Bahamians here in Texas. Over the next few days, you will see a number of other interviews of other proud Bahamians talking about 50 years of independence and their view of past, present, and the future. Once again, thank you, Deon Dean, for joining us here on Effective Living.
pleasure to be here and continue doing the great work you're doing. Awesome show.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right.